right, guys, Michael Cohen back here with you on the Sports Talk Nation as we got a lot to discuss. The New York Mets, the New York Yankees inching closer to the playoffs, and let's just be clear, folks, the ball is now firmly in their court. So the New York Mets, they have now, after their heroic comeback victory against the Texas Rangers on Sunday, have now won 2 in a row. They beat the Padres last night 8-3. They are now, at the moment as we speak, 1.5 games ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks for the final wildcard spot. Why the Arizona? Well, simply because Cincinnati has fallen off. Cincinnati has fallen off, and San Francisco's fallen off. The Giants have lost 4 in a row. And the Diamondbacks have won 4 in a row, so Arizona now 1.5 back, while the other two teams are now 3 and 4 back respectively. So here in the Mets right now, it was just a few days ago. This team was in the midst of a horrible losing streak, 8 straight losses, in which they would find ways to lose. Whether it was, and it's been like the same story we've dealt with all year, folks, right? Whether it's the bullpen, whether it's the lack of quality starting pitching, whether it's the lack of hitting in big spots, all that contributed to an 8-game losing streak that felt like it would never end, starting with that dispiriting series loss in Cincinnati, then the 4-game sweep at the hands of the Phillies, and then losing the first 2 to Texas. And let's be honest, that series against Texas started off as a complete disaster. I mean, you lose the opener to Jacob deGrom. He pitches very well against you, gets more run support from the Rangers than any time he ever got with the Mets. I mean, they gave him a 6-run lead in the first inning, and it was over at that point. Then on Saturday, you have the Alumni Classic. Everyone's feeling good, and then all of a sudden, the Mets bullpen implodes. Brooks Raley implodes, Edwin Diaz implodes in the late innings, and it all falls apart. And it felt like it was going to happen that way again on Sunday, with the bullpen again imploding as the Mets held a 2-0 lead. You get a great start out of Noah McLean, who went 6 innings, gave up only 5 hits, 2 walks, and you can't hold that lead. And then as a result, thankfully, the Mets find a way because of one man, and that's Pete Alonso. The guy's been their MVP all season. Okay? We've had this discussion at times this year. What are the Mets going to do with Alonso? Are they going to extend him? Are they going to give him a new contract at the end of the year? It's going to be a big discussion point this offseason. And he proves once again why he should get a big extension from the Mets. Lifetime contract. Give it to him. Whatever he wants. I'm not even kidding now. Hits a 3-run homer that could be the reason why the Mets make the playoffs this year. Huge 3-run homer. And then it carries over. And I understand momentum is only as good as they say as the next day's starting pitcher. I get that. But that momentum from Alonso's home run just carried over into last night. Mets jump out fast. They get 5 runs in the first inning. Brett Baty with a 2-run homer. Jeff McNeil, a 2-run double. Brandon Nimmo, RBI single. All that in that first inning. The Mets jump out all over the Padres. A Padres team that has owned them for the last several years, including sweeping the Mets earlier this year. And they jump out 8-0. Or actually 5-0, I should say. En route to an 8-3 victory. And the Mets did something with their pitching that I think they're going to try to do in the postseason, and that's piggyback both Clay Holmes, and Sean Manaea in the same game. Both of them pitched the entire game together, 4 innings by Holmes. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. Manaea then went the rest of the way, 5 innings, a run on 4 hits. That might be the formula for the Mets with those two, because both have shown that they are struggling this year. Obviously, Manaea coming back from injury, Holmes going back into the rotation as a starter for the first time since the beginning of his career, have struggled to go deep into games. And you're going to go into the postseason. Most likely you're certainly going to see McLean be your game 1 starter. And then it's a question of whether you want to go with Sprout or Tong or how that's going to situate itself. And then you're going to have Peterson in one of those games as a starter. Then who's going to be your game 4 guy? You might have to piggyback both Manaea and Holmes in that situation in the playoffs. And I think we got a preview of that last night. But again, the Met offense also explosive. Pete Alonso, another home run. Lindor, a home run. The Mets hit 4 home runs on Monday night against the Padres. So here are the Mets now. Now it's 78-73, and they have an opportunity with 2 weeks to go to make this happen. Their magic number is now down to 10. And let's just be honest, if they just keep finding ways to win games, and if they can win series, they're in. Win one more game in this series against San Diego, that would be great. They'd love to see the Mets take 2, with Peterson going tonight and then Tong going on Wednesday afternoon, or Thursday afternoon, rather. You'd love to see that. But then after that series concludes, the Nationals come into town. That's a series the Mets have to sweep. Absolutely have to sweep that series against the Nationals. And then they head to Chicago and then Miami to finish the season. This is an opportunity. I know a lot of people have been talking about collapse, trying to compare this to 2007 and 2008. I'm going to be very honest with you. And for those of you who do not know, 2007 was a bigger collapse than what we have been experiencing potentially this season. Because 2007, that was a team that was coming off of a huge season in 2006, where they went all the way to the NLCS, probably should have won the World Series that year in 2006. 2007, a lot of people thought the Mets were a favorite to finally get over the hump and get to a World Series and win it. They were running through the National League for most of that season in 2007, and then all of a sudden, in a final 2.5 weeks, it fell apart. 7 up, 17 to play, and they completely imploded. And Philadelphia ended up winning the division, ended up going to the playoffs that year in 2007, and the Mets, of course, were finished. That was worse than what we've been going through here. Now, this hasn't been fun. This skid of 8 in a row here coming down a stretch in September, and you're wondering whether this team's going to make the playoffs, and we're still wondering that, of course. But this has been a team that has been madly inconsistent all season. It's been madly inconsistent since June. All we can do right now is sit there, watch, and hope that this team, as they've now won the last 2 against both with the wins against Texas and San Diego, can get on a nice little run here and get to the postseason and give themselves a chance. Now, once they get to the playoffs, anything can happen, obviously. As I said in my last Mets video, even if they get there, considering how inconsistent they are, I'm not sure they can get past an L.A. if that's who they see in a wild card round. We'll have to wait and see when we get there. But this is an opportunity for the Mets. As I said, their magic number is now 10. The Diamondbacks are the team that's now closest to them at 1.5. Giants and Reds are both 3 back. They have fallen off the map a little bit. All the Mets have to do is just keep winning games. Win games, and you're in. Now, for the Yankees, same thing. All they have to do is win games. They took care of the Red Sox over the weekend, and their magic number right now, at the very least, is at 7. They're in a great position. Now, forget the East, okay? They're 5 back in the East. Forget the East, okay? They're going to get most likely get the wild card, and the question is who they're going to face. Is it going to be the Astros, the Red Sox? They're going to make the playoffs. It's been a heck of a September for the Yankees. Aaron Judge has carried them. Ties, then breaks Joe DiMaggio's record as far as 4th place among Yankees in home runs. And the Yankees right now have been playing good baseball. And it's been like the Mets. They've had a madly inconsistent year as well. And I know they lost to the Twins a couple days ago. I know that 7-0. I know. But overall, for the month of September and late August, it's been pretty good for the Yankees. And the stretch that they have here with the Twins, the Orioles, the White Sox, these are teams they should clobber and win most of these games and get themselves probably to 90 wins, and we'll see what happens there when they get to the postseason. It's about lining up their pitching at that point. Do I have a lot of confidence in the Yankees going into the postseason? No, but if there's a team that's scary going into the postseason in the American League, and considering that the American League has been wild, one week it looks like Toronto's the best team, another week it looks like Boston's the best team, then it looks like Detroit's the best team in the American League. It's wide open. Yankees have a great chance to make some noise once they get to the postseason, and they're just a couple of games away from clinching their spot. Like and subscribe, folks. We'll talk to you next time.